All right, so today I am here with Specialist Sweeny, first name Ed?
Correct.
Ed, all right, okay. So, first question I have for you, how does it feel knowing that I have the bigger, more comfortable chair?
I kind of figured since you're going to be conducting more
Okay.
of these that you should get the more comfortable chair.
Okay, so you saw good intuition there. I appreciate that. You know, little things like that speak volumes of a man's character. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you do in the Maryland Guard, what your current job is.
So right now, on this side, I work as the AQSM for Master Sergeant Fotheringham, meaning I go into ATARs, go through the schools, apps, swaps, cancels, and then Sergeant Reynolds will occasionally ask me to help him with orders. Kind of a jack of all trades, plug and play player.
Okay, that tends to happen with E4s in a place like this where it's top heavy. You kind of just become the other duties as assigned.
Yep.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about how you joined the Guard, your experience leading up to this.
So I was active duty down at Fort Johnson now, formerly Fort Polk. When I got in 2018 as a Cav Scout, did my time there and was like, you know what, I don't want to do anything. And then went to the recruiter down there at Polk and they're like, how about you join the National Guard? And I'm like, well, what's Maryland got? And they're like, there's $20,000 for you to go to Maryland. And I said, well, I never got a bonus when I got active, so might as well get one now. And I'd still enjoy being in the military, so let me go and try this National Guard stuff out.
Why did you ask about Maryland specifically?
Because this is where my folks were.
Okay.
And as of that point, I didn't have like a set base anywhere. Like we had just like moved everything out of Florida, and I was like, all right, I need to get to somewhere where I can like be with people, like a support group, and just save money so I can get my own place.
Okay, and so what made you go? Did you grow up in Maryland?
No. So I'm a military brat.
Okay.
I was born at Tripler Army. Then my folks were in Virginia and DC, where I lived for 7 years. Then they retired, lived in Cleveland. Then I lived in Florida. Then I spent my time in Louisiana, and now I'm back in this part of the country in Maryland.
Okay, I see. And so where were you when you decided to go active duty, and what made you go Cav Scout?
Florida. I was in Florida. I was 20, and I had just finished another year working full-time carpentry. Had decided I didn't want to do school anymore, and I'm like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
So I tried the military, and Cav Scout. Originally, I was going to go 19 kilo and be a tanker, but then the recruiter showed me the recruiting video that if you ask any Cav Scout, they know the exact video I'm talking about. It's side by sides, four wheelers, all the cool stuff. Never saw a lick of it, but
oh man, sounds pretty cool.
It was so cool. It was so cool. I'm like, oh, this is what they do. And my recruiter said yes, and I signed up right then and there. Shipped out to Benning at that point, and
that's history. Okay, you got me thinking about a reclass right now. That stuff sounds pretty fun.
It is.
Okay, and so you say you were working carpentry. I did framing for.
So not framing, but I did interior, and then I did like finished carpentry as well. So like I would do blocking and placing for hanging stuff,
okay,
and the frame portion, and then base, all that kind of stuff.
So like the trim kind of stuff?
Yeah, trim stuff and some framing.
Okay, there's a little bit of like art to that. Like that's like some finesse.
And I was very beneficial with the guy I worked with, Charlie Baroff. Has been a carpenter since he was 18. And he's now 60.
Okay. Oh man, he's like a master of that.
Of his,
yeah, those guys are like a dying breed, kind of.
Oh, he's also one of the best dudes I know.
Oh really? Okay. Was he like gruff, like some of those carpentry guys?
He's like, listen, he'll be tough on you, but he wants you to learn. Like, and he will look out for his guys. And and for me, that was a real big thing because I was 18 years old, never worked a job like carpentry before.
Right.
I don't know anything. So he was very, very helpful to me. I still am in contact with him to this day. Every time I'm down in Florida, I go stop by.
Good for you.
Have a couple beers with him.
Yeah, there's a certain like trial by fire that happens in the trades like that I think transfers well to the military.
Yeah, it's a very similar like, hey, you're gonna sink or swim, man.
Yeah,
we'll give you all you need, but it's up to you at that point.
Right. Yep. Fair play. Okay. And so, like, what do you do outside of the Guard? What's your thing? Hobbies, or you're a sports guy, right? You like tons of sports. Yeah.
I pretty much as I've said during our MP course, if I can figure out the rules to a sport, I can get into it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of sports. The only one I haven't ever really been able to get into is cricket. Still have not figured out cricket. But yeah, no, sports. I love watching sports. I love talking about sports. I love playing sports. Any and everything about it.
What about any horse-based sports, like polo or
polo? I can like kind of get into. It's a little tricky for me, but like I'm like.
Can you ride the horse?
So funny story. I have ridden a horse before.
Okay, all right.
What was I? I was 19, I think. Went to impress a girl, of course.
Of course, as we do. Yeah.
And she thought it was the funniest thing. I'm like, you know what? This is cool, but this thing is deadly.
Yeah, there is an intimidation factor to riding those things. It's just like at any minute they could just change their mind.
This thing could kick me. And it would.
They're beautiful creatures, though.
Oh, they're elegant and majestic, but I'd like to observe them from a distance.
Sure. You ever seen the horse therapy? You know anything about that?
For the special needs?
Troubled kids.
Yes, I have seen stuff like that. I've seen a couple programs like that. Stuff like that is very, very important to me as well.
Yeah.
As someone who worked with special needs kids and worked with troubled youth growing up in high school, like stuff like that, for them to have that opportunity to go and just kind of be disconnected from everything, but able to be themselves and be free from that stuff.
So what was this for? The working with the special needs kids, part of the community service for high school, or just something else?
Just wanted to do.
Okay.
To me, it's always been one of those things. Like I'm very fortunate in my life. My parents still together. I had both of them worked 20 plus years in the active duty military to give me a good life. I want to go and help people.
Yeah. Because good for you.
There's nothing worse to me than someone who has the ability to help someone and just doesn't.
Yeah. I don't talk about it a lot, but I volunteer with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, if you're familiar with that.
It's one of the best programs going.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so would you have a favorite sport that do you play, like, or are you just kind of like whatever comes? Or
for me, my favorite sport to play is probably soccer.
Okay.
Because soccer to me is, you can be very technically gifted at it, but it's 90% is thinking.
Oh, okay, all right.
If you're, especially on the bigger fields, if you are just like, I'm just going to run, you better be a supreme athlete. Because I think the average distance run during a match in the professional level is like 20-something kilometers. Like dudes are, like they're running marathons almost. So for me, there's elegance in being able to just kind of jog and walk and see someone across the field and hit a ball to them, and it lands right at their feet. Yeah,
so like I know people who are like they play or they coach soccer or they're really into soccer. It's just never grabbed me. I just don't think I don't know what I should be looking for to appreciate from it. So when you say like it's a thinking sport, like what is are we talking like the coach in terms of strategy? Or are we talking individual player in terms of like?
That's the thing. Like so with soccer, it's a different types of things. Like there's different styles of play. There's different all this stuff. And you just got to find something like, if you want to watch like the best players in the world, watch like a Lionel Messi like highlight tape, because you'll watch a dude who you just know, like he was put on the planet to do this thing.
Yeah,
that's it. He is better than everyone, and it's not close. But stuff like that, like watching, because a lot of people make this mistake when they first get into watching the sport. They just watch the ball.
Right. That's what I do. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah.
So for me, it's all right. What's the ball doing right there? Okay, cool. Then you look. All right, what's the guy at the top of the screen doing? What's the guy at the top of the field? Is he trying to make a run in to drag a defender with him to open up the middle of the field for a player to move forward? It's simple stuff like that. Just watching the movement of everybody instead of just watching the ball. Okay. Because for us in American sports especially, the ball is the focal.
Right. So that's I'm approaching it from an American
the NFL, MLB, basketball.
Yeah.
You have to watch the ball there because that's where all the action is. But in this sport, there's watching the ball is important. But if you can keep track of what's going on around the ball to see how things are getting set up, then you can see, he's going to try and move the ball here, so this guy can go there. Okay,
I have a friend who's a soccer coach. He talks a lot about triangles.
The triangle.
Oh, can you elaborate on the triangles?
It's essentially from Johan Cruyff, who is a Dutch player, one of the best of all time.
Oh, of course, Johan. Of course, who doesn't know Johan Cruyff? All right.
But he developed the pass and move system, which Pep Guardiola, current manager of Manchester City, has developed into the Teeky Taka system.
Okay.
Take the ball, pass the ball, take the ball, pass the ball.
Right.
And essentially work in a triangle because you can dissect the defense that way. So say we're in a triangle like this, he's got the ball here, and the defenders can't cover both of us. They can't cover both of the angles. So boom, pass the ball. Then move to another triangle. Boom, pass the ball.
Okay.
The triangle is one of the best ways to get the ball moved down the field. Teeky Taka, take the ball, pass the ball. It's a style that emphasizes first time passing. So as soon as it hits your feet, you find your guy and you move the ball.
Okay. All right. So there's not a lot of control that's happening like with like a guy dribbling like the entire length of the field.
For that system, there's not a lot. It's a system designed
touch and go. It seems kind of
the system is the whole plan.
Okay.
But that's the thing though. That system you can't allow for certain people like a Lionel Messi who played in that system. Okay, we'll move the ball all the way down the field, but we're going to give it to you, and we're going to let you make magic happen.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Okay, and so you just reclassed at MP not too long ago. We went to the course together. What's your intent with that? What were your thoughts on the MP world?
I enjoyed everything in it. It was, for me, it was one of those. It was like, do I really want to do this? I love being a Cav Scout, but in this state there is no upward mobility for my MOS.
Yeah. So were you here when there was a Cav presence still when you got here?
I was getting here as soon as they got rid of it.
Okay.
So as soon as they got rid of it, they're like, yeah, there's no Cav Scouts left in Maryland. So
that was met with a lot of heartache. Do you have like the Stetson and all of that stuff?
I do have my funny hat.
Okay.
I do have my funny hat.
Very cool. Okay, so if you had like one piece of advice that you could give to either a younger specialist Sweeny or like someone in their career that's just entering the Army on how to be successful, what would that be?
Ask questions all the time. Ask it. And don't be afraid to ask questions that you think sound dumb. Because to me, I make this joke all the time. I'm not the smartest guy out there. So I surround myself with people who I know are smarter. Keep that circle around you with smart people. Because no one's perfectly well-rounded. Everyone's got a blind spot somewhere. So if you ask the questions, try and either build that up or keep yourself around people who will nurture that in you and make you a better person. Ask the questions, because to me, sitting there with a thing you don't think is dumb but could actually provide something, it's not helpful. We had a couple of those when I was down at Fort Polk, where we had guys that we were trying to teach how to remember weapon system ranges, do land nav and stuff. And we'd ask them, hey, you guys got all this down, right? And they're like, yeah. 3-4 days go by, we do a quiz and they fail it. We're like, sorry, it just doesn't work for me. Then say something.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think the Army can be a very ego-driven organization, and there's a perception that asking a question might show weakness, and so but that's great.
It's with that, and then it's also like, I just want to get this over with.
Yeah.
It's the as long as I'm not the worst. I don't want to be noticed type mentality, which is really bad for the military.
I'm starting to regret the chair selection. I'm noticing that I think yours might be higher, and it's forcing me to look up, and so I'm actually feel like I'm in the inferior position. So the next interview, I'm going to take that chair. But okay, great advice. Thank you very much, and good luck to you. All right.
Thank you.